Welcome back. Now to a shocking story in Ann Arbor, Michigan that's trending this morning. A historic college football program finds itself at the center of an alleged assault investigation.
Proud of the team. It's a very young team. I continue to say it, and you go back and watch game by game. You saw groups getting better and better and better. And obviously, didn't get the result we wanted in the last game. That's what we worked towards, but try not to beat yourself up too much about that, because you got to prepare for this next one. So I think we got a really good foundation of where we need to be, but we got a lot to work on.
That was Sherrone Moore Monday addressing the media before a matchup between his 18th-ranked Michigan Wolverines and 13th-ranked Texas later this month. 2 days later, Moore was fired as Michigan's head football coach for what the school is calling an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Then, hours later, the married father of 3 was arrested and taken into police custody. Newly released dispatcher audio details the investigation into the alleged assault involving Moore.
Subject just called the caller, told her there's a male at the location and the house attacking her. She's been stalking her for months. They call S1's wife in Ann Arbor saying that the subject is suicidal. Reference quitting his job today.
According to wife and S1's mother, he is at an unknown parking lot somewhere. We're attempting to have wife contact him.
The dispatchers you could hear saying that the subject, Sherrone Moore, was suicidal and that he lost his job today. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing and they haven't released any more details connected to his arrest. So we're wondering, who is he a danger to, if anyone? Let's talk about this. Let's bring in our guest. Still with me in the studio, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Noah Pines, and joining us remotely, sports law attorney and entertainment attorney Dan Lust. Dan also has a podcast, Conduct Detrimental, so definitely check that out too. Dan, I'll begin with you. This is just blowing up, as you know. Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I think the first part here is, and some of these interviews kind of mentioned it, this is a bombshell story. This is a story that is kind of going across college sports into mainstream media. And I think the most important thing, like we can talk about for-cause firing and contracts, and that could be really any type of activity. But when we get to college sports, when you hear that a coach of Sherrone Moore's status was fired after the season for cause, you know it is a gravitas event. And we could look through just the kind of definition for cause in his contract. And while we're kind of speculating on, whether the dispatcher is saying this and what's true versus what's not true on social media, but for a for-cause firing for a program like Michigan's, at this point where we're kind of after the coaching carousel has already been done, it has to be a grave event. So we kind of understood it to be a big event. And certainly what's come out now from the dispatcher's office and the statement from Michigan, I think that certainly meets that. But yeah, I'm not sure there's a precedent to allegations of this magnitude coming at this time of the season.
Dan, great points. Thank you. Speaking of that comment from the president, so this statement released on the firing of Coach Moore, statement from the president says, quote, when the findings of a university investigation into Coach Moore's behavior were presented on Wednesday, we immediately terminated his employment. There's absolutely no tolerance for this conduct at the University of Michigan. None. The breach of trust by Coach Moore is painful for many in our community. First and foremost, the individuals directly involved in this situation. Signed Domenico Grasso, the president. Okay. Noah Pines, he's going to court. He picked up this criminal case. Then you hear that 911 call. What did you think about that?
Well, my first question is, are all 911 calls like that in Michigan, where they're calling the person S1? I mean, or are they doing something special in this case to hide his voice? I don't know. Yeah. I don't practice there, but I've never heard that terminology here in Georgia, where it's like S1. So it's a question, because I know sometimes some of these college towns get protected by the police because they don't want this out. We obviously need to hear more of the story, Julie. We don't really have all the facts other than what we've seen on social media, that he was fired, alleged inappropriate conduct, with a female employee, which you can't have. I mean, that's obviously wrong. Is it a bombshell? I mean, does it happen all over? Probably. It's just that he's caught, he's from a big school, and now it's all over social media.
Right, Noah. Dan, what do we know, if anything, about this third party, this mistress, whatever we want to call her?
Yeah, you know, I'll echo the comments that were just said. There's a lot of things that we can't separate fact from fiction. Certainly the comments that are pervasive, and we could just say what's being reported, that this was a Michigan in-house staffer, I believe Sherrone Moore's directive executive assistant. There has been some reporting, again, not verified by Michigan, but that this individual's salary had doubled in the last year after being stagnant for the previous two. You know, I will say, in terms of like whether this happens or doesn't happen, or whether what's confirmed or not confirmed, just looking at Michigan's statement, they're very clear in their wording. And I've had a chance to look at Sherrone Moore's contract and the foreclosed elements here. You know, certainly in a morality clause, you could be fired for a felony, a conviction, right? You know, but there is an element here which I think, at least I'm pointing to, is I think the reason he was fired is just really inappropriate relationships with a staffer that's not being reported. So if you look at Michigan's statement, they're not really saying anything about an arrest, and we're just trying to think of what Sherrone Moore's defense would be to a firing for cause. And again, we haven't said it yet. That's the difference of about $13.5 million for Sherrone Moore that would have been paid out through 2029. So in addition to defending these charges against him, he's going to have essentially a fight for this $13 million. It's going to depend exactly on what school provision he violated, because right now, right, he hasn't been convicted of anything, and this is still a case being fought in the court of public opinion. So yeah, Sherrone Moore has $13.5 million to kind of see this one out. But yeah, you know, just again, there really isn't much precedent to this, right? Maybe there are relationships with staffers that are reported up the chain, but yeah, this is certainly a bombshell lawsuit in my world.
Yeah, boy, if he hasn't called you yet, he should, Dan Less. You let us know if you get a call and you start representing him. So he's going to be in court today for the criminal case, for this assault case. So it's like he's got separate legal problems going on, as we know. We're still waiting for confirmation on what these charges are. Those details have been kept quiet. This news, we know, it's rocking the campus at the University of Michigan.
You look up to these people a lot, and so, especially as like a big football fan, so it hurt.
There was very little studying being done. It was a big talk, yeah. Everybody knows about it. It's getting spread around.
They did know. They've definitely got to tell everyone, like, hey man, we knew we did something wrong, and we kind of just asked for our forgiveness.
All right, so here's a look at Sherrone Moore's time in Michigan, which has been a little bit bumpy. Let's go with September 2023. He was suspended for the season opener for NCAA violations while acting as Michigan's offensive coordinator. Those troubles will then continue for him. This past September, he was suspended in connection with the infamous sign stealing scandal at Michigan, and then he was fired for cause, so they say, on Wednesday. Now, as the former head coach is set to face a judge, we're wondering, how should he plead? Noah Pines, this is your world, criminal court. What should he do today?
Julie, you always plead not guilty to start. I mean, this is first appearance. You know, typically you're never going, I'm guilty today, Judge. That even if you are guilty, you're not doing it today. So, you know, you're figuring out what. Obviously, we're going to figure out what the charges are, and you know, whether he pleads guilty would be way down the line.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We're almost out of time, but some final thoughts here. Dan Lust, in terms of what we're going to see happening with him, any public statements, any predictions you got for us?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here, and you know, it's a big story really because of the question is what Michigan knew ahead of time, or even the dispatcher saying that he was being stalked for months. And it seems that this was a consensual relationship. So why did Michigan wait until today, or I guess earlier this week, to make that firing? That's really the question. How much Michigan knew, and if that period of time that they knew would create a defense for Sherrone Moore to get his contract buyout, at least in our transactional world, that seems to be the question that everyone's curious about.
Yes, boy, great conversation with you both. We'll continue it as this case progresses. Got to leave it there for